Howdy, kids. Dear Uncle Birch, people keep asking me my opinion on these things, so I had to do a video finally on Doomsday. Is it the end of the world? Is it coming? I'm not concerned. I've been around a long time and I've been through too many doomsdays. And when I was a kid, we expected the world to end in 1984. I think because all the punk bands rhymed nuclear war with 84. And it was definitely a concern, and the world was, poised to blow itself up. And I've been through, Y2K and too many, on and on and on, the doomsday scenarios. Now, I should mention that I come from one of the old doomsday cults in witchcraft. My parent tradition, the Druidic Craft of the Wise, had very old legends told of the earth being destroyed several times, and was waiting for the next time it was be destroyed. But as such, there's a lot of training in that system to survive the apocalypse, to flourish in the apocalypse. So I've been getting ready for the apocalypse my whole life, but I don't think it's coming this year. I don't. I'm not having any dreams. I'm not awakened in the middle of the night. I don't see it coming. And I'll tell you, I don't think anybody should see it coming. The Mayan calendar ends. That's it. The calendar ends. We don't know what that means. Maybe it's just time to start a new calendar. Maybe time doesn't run like time once ran. Who knows? There was much doomsday philosophies in the Mayan culture, but as most doomsday philosophies of old people, it was a prophecy for a much earlier time. God, I hope the music's not too loud in here, but it is very ominous, right? It was a prophecy for an earlier time. The Mayan civilization did end. It disappeared off the face of the map. That was their doomsday that they were prophesizing. Likewise, the Christians been waiting for thousands of years for Armageddon, and Armageddon happened shortly after the book was written. The beast was Caesar. Armageddon was a battle between all the armies of the world. All the armies of the world were to meet at the plains of Megiddo, which was a significant piece of land back during the times of the Old Testament. If you controlled the plains of Megiddo, you controlled the throughways, the highways to several nations. You could control the entirety of that piece of the Middle East by controlling that piece of land back in the day. Now it's an insignificant piece of land. The armies of the world assembled several times on the plains of Megiddo, and they assembled shortly after the Old Testament was written on the plains of Megiddo, had their huge battle. Caesar was the beast of the Jews at the time. They were foretelling their doom, and it was a very short-range prophecy. It wasn't reaching thousands of years into the future. Likewise, the Mayans. The Mayan culture ended a long time ago, disappeared from the face of the map. So since they already had their doomsday, why would they be concerned with ours? They're already gone. On and on and on the doomsday scenarios go, and the problem is, we read these old books and they're written in an old language, different than the language we use now. As I've stated before, everything's symbolic in the Bible, but many cultures have foretold this, and I'm sure it's going to come at some point. The earth does that every so often, but people keep asking me, and no, I don't think it's going to happen this solstice. Maybe something will happen. And the thing that some people need to keep in mind, it's not always the end of the world. It's the end of the world in its present state. It's a change. A change in consciousness, hopefully, and that'd be great if that came along. But I do not feel the big cataclysm is going to come this solstice. I would probably be, plagued with nightmares and, stockpiling food and finding a place in the mountains to go hide. And I don't feel motivated to do that. So, yeah, I could be wrong. We'll find out on the solstice. But people keep asking me. I'm not concerned. I did get a message from a viewer. It was very sweet. He was very concerned about me getting out of California because it's all going to go down. And I appreciate your concern. But I'm here for a reason. And I need to be here for that reason right now. And I'm clear on that. And that was my own personal prophecy. And I know why I'm here and what I'm doing here. And thank you for your concern. Now, if it's the old story of California falling in the sea, which theoretically could happen, this viewer was telling me to go to Oregon. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I was reading your messages while on the toilet this morning. I forgot who said it, but if California was to fall into the sea, I'm sorry, Oregon's not the place to be. The resulting tsunamis would devastate everything on the West Coast. And the new West Coast, California fell into the sea, the tsunamis probably sweep into Arizona. So there's no place, if that happened, no place on the West Coast going to survive. So thank you. I sure wouldn't want to go like inland or head south, go down to the Bible Belt to hide. I'd head for the Sierras or something like that. But I don't have a whole lot more to say on that. But I did, I haven't said anything, and people keep asking me, "What do you think about that?" I don't think this is the time. Something may happen on the solstice, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world as we know it. And so far, that end of the world hasn't happened. It's more likely that the Old Testament prophecies were foretelling something in the near future for them, and the Mayans likewise. The Mayan culture had a doomsday, and it had a doomsday not too long after their prophecies were written. But I see nothing in their prophecies pointing specifically at this time, or that their prophecies apply to this time. The only thing that I do find factual is that their calendar ends, and that can mean a lot of things. Just in these past couple years, we've had some interesting things happen. Like there was an earthquake in Chile. The earthquake in Chile threw our time off by microseconds, just fraction of microseconds. But even that kind of thing. If we had some more earthquakes that threw off our time, our calendars wouldn't work anymore. And it could be that the Mayans just knew that it was going to be time to get a new calendar. And it could be that the Mayans didn't know anything. Who knows? Just because people are old does not make them, does not give them an insight into the future. Sometimes we do that. Just because a culture's ancient, anything that they said, we hold dear. And I have no disrespect to my ancestors, but not all of our ancestors were right. People have been expecting the end of the world forever. There's even a book. There's probably a couple books now, but a book on Doomsday. All the Doomsdays that have ever happened, all the crazy stuff that people did, all the riots in the streets that have happened throughout time, and the next day, the world's still here. So, Uncle Bert says, I wouldn't worry about that right now. And if I feel you need to worry about that, I'll be sure to tell you. I'm not sure how much time I have on my phone, so I should probably end the video at 9 minutes here before it cuts me off. You can get on my Facebook page, Facebook/BirchTreeCraft. Don't go to Birch Tree Craft, Vermont. I'm shocked that somebody had such a similar name, but it turned out that way. Birch Tree Craft. Several people keep asking me to give the address where they can send donations, because I don't tell that enough. It's probably why I'm not rich yet. I forget to say things like that. But you can PayPal us donations at sacredgrove913@hotmail.com. sacredgrove913@hotmail.com. I think that's all my announcements. Facebook page, sacredgrove913. And I guess that's it. Merry meet. Mary Bart. Top of the morning to you. All right, meet again.